So, welcome back to the Limited Sports Sync podcast. Today is a special treat for me, for the fans, for everybody. We have a current NFL player's father here. He's a great guy, um, and I'm gonna let him pretty much hop right in and tell a little bit about himself and let everybody else, see how he is. Uh, Dave Asiasi, welcome to the show. I just want to ask you a little bit about your background and just how it is being the father that you are, to this day, the whole journey.
Okay, thanks, Lance. Thanks for having me on your podcast. It's a privilege to be on your podcast. I watched some of your work. You do good work, man. And for myself, my name is Dave Asiasi. I'm father to Devin Asiasi, the current third string tight end. I guess that's what they're saying right now for the New England Patriots. And he was a draft 91st draft pick for them back in 2020, uh, third round. And so I'm born and raised. Born and raised in Samoa, but I came to California in 1983. I've been here since then. So California guy with went to school out here. Uh, Went to college, a Division III out here, and then have my kids out here, obviously. And so I'm a California guy, California's Samoan, is that what they call it? American. I'm from American Samoa, uh, and so yeah, I've been here raising since 1983, and I love it out here, and I love football, and love raising my kids.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we just talked about it a little bit. I said I love how the family culture is when it comes to the Samoan families and the Polynesian families and just that togetherness and the discipline and the different things that you guys do and you always support each other and things of that nature. Tell me a little bit about how your family culture was and how it played a factor with sports and the growth in that.
Well, yeah, I think culturally, the Samoan culture, much like most cultures, they find them to be close knit, tight knit, very much family oriented. There's not many of us, so it's us against the world type of mentality, type of deal. So you grow up in that atmosphere of like you'll never be alone because you're always going to have brothers, cousins, and they're always going to be around you. And you grow up in that environment of brotherhood, sisterhood, caring for each other, watching out for each other, and close knit. And um, the the discipline of it all comes from parents watching over, being in your life for the most part, all the time, and watching over you, giving you advice.
Yes,
The
indeed.
elders of the Samoan culture is very important in our culture. We celebrate them more or less of like their the wise ends of teaching us how to, walk through the light in our lives as as you go on through, through the world. And they're always going to be there. So yeah, we learn from a young age, family, close knit, togetherness, and that kind of coincides with sports. It is, the same thing that you preach in the culture of sports, and that is fosters family, the atmosphere, the togetherness, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, playing for each other and all that. So it kind of all the same. And
Yes, indeed.
so you're not going into something new when Polynesian kids go into sports because they were groomed in that environment, so that right away they'll catch on to whatever it is that their sport may be.
Yes, sir. I definitely noticed that that plays a role in most leaders as well. in sports. Those are some of the people who come from even some tight knit situations, and they make it through some tough struggles, and they may have to even look after brothers, sisters, and it makes them a natural born leader from that point forward. You know,
Mhm. Leaders,
but
yeah, leaders within their teams,
yeah,
just like there would be leaders within their families of watching after their their brothers and sisters. So yeah, natural born leaders, and it kind of like the same thing I tell not just my boys, and my oldest, but my girls right now who play. Um, they play one of the top ranked high school basketball programs in California. I tell them leadership is important more than anything else when it comes to team
alrighty, I hear you now.
that, yeah, that's. I'm sorry, I lost you there for a minute, but that's how you win. Is to have that leadership and to to take care of your teammates as well as take care of the culture around your teammates. Not
Yeah,
not being a bad teammate is just as important as being a good leader. You know what I'm saying? Because the culture of winning is fostered around that of caring for each other and loving each other and believing for each other.
yes, sir, definitely. And I want to know, with my next question, what sports did you participate in, and from your younger ages, maybe even high school or college, what sports did you play, and how was that journey for yourself?
Okay, well, coming landed in LA like I said in '83 when I was around 12, 13. Um, uh, Basically, I played everything. You find out quickly when you land in Long Beach and Compton area that you have to play almost every sport that was out there. Right, so
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know I didn't like basketball, but I found out right away that that's what you had to do to play.
yeah.
When you're walking through there. So because I was growing up in the island, I played rugby a little bit more,
Oh
and then I
yeah.
was introduced to football just before I came over, American football. Yeah, but the first thing I did was when I landed, when my grandma took me to Compton swap meet and she bought me a Laker jersey, the number 30. She
Wow.
got me a Magic Johnson jersey for the swap meet, and then I was like, all right, well, this is going to help me when I go out in the basketball court, on the parks.
Yeah.
And of course, I went out there and I was a walking foul. Everybody was making fun, but it's funny because that caused me to have friendships that I still have to this day. To some of my friends that I still keep in touch with to this day was the sports. When I came over and playing basketball, wearing that Magic Johnson jersey, 33. And, at the Rosecrans Park shooting hoop. And then, so I played a lot of that, but obviously my size, you know, made me play football for the good part.
Yeah.
And coaches grabbing you right when you walk off campus. Hey man, you gotta come play football. So of course, football was the game for me. Still played a little basketball, but football was there, and met a lot of good coaches because what it is, um, the coaches in my life, down there became the strong male role models. I still had grandma and uncles at home, but the what helped me a lot with sports there, especially in the community like Long Beach, it was a lot of my coaches were African American, some were of the Mexican American, so I
Hmm.
was getting introduced to the vibe of the melting pot of America,
Yes.
through my coaches, and so I could I learned very early how cool, great this country is, just by learning, by being around all of them, each one of them different types of food. When you come, go to the parties.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, built that you know you know hey, I love America, because I was missing home for a minute there. I was like, I wanted to go back, because
Yeah.
but that right there, it's just kind of like helped me make the foundation of me, like being, proud to be American, proud, like America and all that, and so the sports did a lot for me growing up, and I was able to transfer a lot of that to my kids as I was able to, transfer that over to them as they were beginning to start getting into their sports
Right.
and their stuff.
Definitely. And how was it? Did you happen to play any sports in college?
Yeah, well, uh, I played high school ball. I moved up here to the Bay. I currently live in San Francisco. I've been up in the Bay since I was a sophomore in high school.
Okay.
Moved up to the Bay, so I basically went here and graduated out here in the Bay, the San Francisco area. Um, Played a little high school ball. I got a little attention from some whack schools like Hawaii wanted me out of high school. Fresno State was interested. I wasn't really able to get the big time schools. I don't know, probably because I was playing at a lower level, those mid-level programs out here. Not at the De La Salle like my son played at, but yeah. But also, I wasn't getting that. Back then, it wasn't how it is today, where everybody gets that exposure and stuff like that. So just
Right.
to get that for myself from letters like that would obviously means I was all right. So yeah, I was all county, all confident, but I could never hammer the grades down. So I ended up going to a JUCO out here called the College of San Mateo, uh, where out here in San Mateo, California. And funny story about that: my college roommate became their current head coach now. His mother's the current head coach.
Wow.
I was able to bring him back, and he became the head coach there, and it's one of the better programs now in California.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's funny how that goes, right? So yeah, so I went there, and then I got a scholarship offer to go to Portland State, Sonoma State, and the funny thing about Sonoma State, I was going there. I was getting recruited at the same time. Played defensive tackle with a certain dude by the name of Larry Allen out of Napa, and it was so funny
Wow.
because we were in the same recruiting trip, and I remember meeting Larry and Coach Hawkins, Coach Hawkins, who was like the D coordinator at Sonoma State. Now you know Coach Hawkins. Used to be the coach over at Boise when they made
Yeah.
their run, and then he left, went to
Dan Hawkins,
Colorado.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was the D coordinator there, and I don't remember why I didn't end up choosing to go to Sonoma State, but I ended up. But it was funny because everybody keeps saying, "Oh, it's because you saw Larry Allen." I was like, "No, not really. It's because I just didn't think being out. I wanted to be closer to home, but
Right.
because it's out in Santa Rosa area, which is a little bit closer to Sacramento. But yeah, yeah, that was the deal with that, and it's funny because me and Larry ended up running back into each other about 10 some odd years later, 15 years later, because our sons played together at De La Salle, and
Wow.
his son was older, and my son was younger. So yeah,
That's
so that's
awesome.
okay. So, but I ended up at a D3. I was quitting football actually towards the end there. I was having problems with myself, and so I ended up at a D3 close to here. Went to Menlo College. It's called Menlo College, and basically, yeah, that's where I ended up playing the rest of my college ball.
Okay. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And in your college time, what other people that will later on become pros or will later on do, you know, do certain things that will pop up, and you'll say, "Hey, I used to play against that guy," or "I went to college with that person." Did you have any other encounters like that?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, man, because the more I tell you the stories, it's going to be kind of crazy right now, right? Because it's like I'm almost like just the Forrest Gump story, stuff like that. It's kind of funny like that. But so after my senior year at Menlo College, uh, it's funny because Jerry Rice's house used to be right next to Menlo College football field.
Wow.
So we used to see Jerry like out there running every morning when we was out there, like when we was out there coming out there to go to like put it, to like we come out there at 6 o'clock. The guy's coming off the field, right? We come out there at six
Mm.
o'clock to go put our pads in to come on, and he's coming off our field. Right? He's like, "Hey, what's up, fellas?" Running off, running into his mansion and across the way. And our coach used to always look at us and goes, "You guys will never get that. You guys will never get that work ethic." And we all started laughing, kind of chuckling. It's like, yeah, so he deserved that, right? So he deserved all that. So, but it's funny because my senior year, his trainer, this guy named Raymond Ferris, came to our last game, and it was versus the University of Redlands, and it was, and I guess he had just gotten the job as the player personnel guy at an arena league team called the San Jose SaberCats.
Yeah.
So he came walking in. Yeah, I think he was just out there because he was looking for Jerry, and Jerry just was like already gone off the field. So he came out there on game, and I had one of my better games. I think I had like 4 sacks, I think, and it was against a good team. And so he was asking about me to the coach afterwards and gave him my number. And my coach just said, "Hey, some guy was asking about you," so he gave me that. So I called him up, and it was like, and he goes, "Hey, man, you want to come train with me? Because it's this, the new, you know, strength you player personnel over at San Jose SaberCats." I
Right.
was like, "All right, cool, yeah, I can do it. What else you gotta do? It was my senior year. I'm done. I'm thinking, I didn't get my shot at the NFL. I'm 6'1", about 290. Got short limbs, but I can ball though. I
Right.
can
Got
dribble.
the heart.
But I was like, he goes, "Yeah, it's cool." So I showed up at 6 o'clock, and there was Jerry Rice, and there was Tom Kelly, played defensive end for, I think he played for Tennessee.
Mm.
He was one of their or Todd Kelly. Todd Kelly. Yeah,
Okay.
he was one of their draft picks from the year before. He played defensive line. He was there, and Ricky Waters. I'm not standing there. I was in awe. I was like, what am I doing out here again? It's like these people come out here every morning, and like I'm sleeping over there. Right? It's like, yeah, I heard about it, and I heard about this, but now I am seeing it at 6 o'clock in the morning, right? So,
Right.
and he's like, this is the new kid. We're gonna work out with him. He's gonna work out with us. Oh, that first day. Oh my goodness. And luckily there were some linemen there too. If I forget their names, I think they were all of the draft. So I ran with them,
Yeah.
because I was about to run those 220s. But one of the linemen, I didn't. One of the D guys, I didn't like really pick it up right away because I kept looking at him and the guy looked familiar. But then he didn't say. But then he introduced himself afterward as Dwayne Johnson. So
Wow.
I was like, Dwayne Johnson, right? So I never said, I was like, but he looks familiar, like I've seen him before. But and then I just remember that I remember seeing him on, when he played at Miami, because
Yeah.
the Samoan players kind of follow each other. So I was like, oh. And then he just told me this whole story of like, his he's Peter Maivia's grandson. I was like, man, I used to watch that guy,
Yeah.
wrestle and all that stuff. It's pretty cool. And so me and Dwayne the Rock Johnson were like workout partners for that whole month before, because it was right. It was right before the draft. So
Wow.
I was like watching the Young Rock the other day, and I was like, "Shoot, man, why am I not in this thing, man?"
Right.
I
Let me get my
remember,
cameo.
I remember, I remember being in that dude's Buick driving around listening to Luther Vandross that the agent got him because we were going to workouts, right? He would pick
Yeah.
us up, go to workouts, and then Raymond would tell us to get back to the field, and so it was kind of funny, man, because I was like, funny how all these things kind of mesh together. But yeah, that's how that was kind of my experience with football, and I always loved the game. I always had it. I loved it so much that I decided to coach after a little bit after I was done, and went back to coaching. With all my mentors at the JUCO that I was at, and that's where I accidentally took my roommate there. My roommate was a scrappy DB from Carlsbad, California, down in San Diego, and he was able to get himself up here to this D3, and then his name is Tim Tullock, and he's like my brother and his roommate, and he just told me, man, I want to coach here. I thought he wasn't serious. I thought he was messing around. He's like, I want to coach here. It was after we had lifted, and he was coming back out. He had met all the coaches. He had met my head coach when I was there, and we were walking back to this. Like he was like, man, I want to coach here. I was like, come on, man, stop it. He's like, we're like 22. He's like, you still want to like go to clubs and hang out, right? Like, no, I want to coach here. So now he's like one of the winningest coaches in California. As far as
Wow.
JUCO is concerned, he's been
Wow.
there for almost 20 years now.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah, well, 20 years as an assistant, about 17 years as assistant, but he's been the head coach now for about 4 years. So
Wow.
yeah, and that's the College of San Mateo. If you don't know, is where Tom Martinez, who was one of my head coaches, my mentors, and also one of my, I coached with him back in '99. He's Tom Brady's uh, quarterback coach, the quarterback guy that passed
That's
away
great.
to the Tom Martinez. So
Wow.
Tom's had Tom's had Tom up there since he was 12, 13 up at CSM, College of San Mateo, where he's been throwing, teaching him how to throw the ball when nobody even had him on the radar. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? No, like you thought of him as a second thought, and so he was able to teach that guy how to be what probably the best quarterback that ever played the game. And so, but it just so happens at the same time, a little scrappy kid that went to high school just right down the street named Julian Edelman came up to College of San Mateo. Actually, he didn't come up to San. My roommate went to one of his games when he first started, like because he was like all the rookie DBs got to go do the recruiting. So he went to the one of the games and he saw Julian play. And I remember him texting me. He's like, "Hey, you gotta see this kid, man. He can run. He can hit and stuff." I'm like, "All right, cool." So I didn't pay no mind to it. So I was trying to do my D line stuff, for my kids. But I
Right.
remember seeing and coming up to the next day, we were watching film on him, like his from his huddle or from his film, and it's like, damn, that dude got some really good hips for a white dude. He's like he can like really move, and we're like, yeah,
Yep.
man, look at him, he's fluid. So I think he wanted to play quarterback
Mm-hmm.
because that's what he was playing. And so I said to that, man, you gotta get him, man. I don't care if he's playing wants to play quarterback. You gotta get him. He's a great athlete. And I said, yeah, we do. So I was just happy he came up there. And yeah, so two legendary San Mateo guys right from the area that ended up going to the Patriots. They ended up drafting my son in the third round last year.
That's
It's,
amazing.
well, comes
It's
together.
so interwebbed, and even a guy like I watched Julian Edelman as a kid. I believe I was probably a teenager. He was that do-it-all quarterback for Kent State, just a spunky little 5'9", 5'10" quarterback. And I said, this guy is something else.
Yeah,
So he finally got that shot. Uh, I believe it was either undrafted or in the seventh round.
yeah, I think it was
And
the seventh round.
right, and he made that switch to wide receiver, and I said, okay, that's different because I knew he was athletic, and just to see everything that he did, he made the best of his situation, and just those underdog mentalities to keep grinding. It was amazing to see.
Yeah, and very, and, that's what every sport is really. Is if you have that fire and that grind, right? It's what sets you apart from from the guys that make it and don't make it. There's also a little bit of luck that goes into the whole situation. Can't say that there isn't, but at the same time, if you don't, if you keep that fire in you and you keep grinding hard, you'll get some fruits out of it. Some you'll reap the rewards.
Yes, indeed. So I wanted to switch gears a little bit, and let's dive into your son's Devin's career. And what age did you actually start him out on his football journey?
I think it was. I think when I first noticed him running,
Hmm.
um, I at he didn't start walking until like almost a year and a half, which was, well, I think it was, yeah, almost a year, which was kind of like, as a dad, sports dad, you're like reading all this stuff. Oh, they don't walk by. Some of
Yeah.
if they walk by when there's in like 9 years, 9 months, man, you're gonna be get them a contract, But yeah, so this dude didn't start like walking until it was like almost a year and a half or a year, about 12, 13, 14 months. So I
Yeah.
was kind of worried about it. But then when he started running, I just noticed he was fluid, very fluid for his age. I was like, he's fluid, and that's always the thing that as a coach, you're always told to look for fluid hips, strong core, you know, um, and that type, and then you can build from that. Um, so I just noticed he did, and then I think it wasn't until he was fifth when he was 5 years old. He when I noticed that he picked up a basketball, a regular sized basketball, and he shot it with his left hand, and it was like from the elbow, and it went in.
Wow.
And then I gave him the ball again, and he shot it again, and it went in. And so like then I realized, and I was like just like looking at him, going, oh dude, his motor sync functions are kind of a little bit advanced for it. So I kept throwing the ball, and we do it. And so, and then 6 years old, um, he was running. He was fluid. You throw him anything, he could catch it. He shot the ball. So there was a lot of natural abilities that were coming in versus
Mhm.
my boy's 6 year old who was like just trying to run down the field very fast. And so, and my guy, my friends were like, man, your son is like, dude, he's a good athlete. I was like, yeah, I noticed that too. So you notice that? He's like, yeah, he knows that too. So we're like, so at a young age, he was getting those abilities. So I just started harnessing it in the sense of like, try to discipline him to repetitiveness. Train him to do that.
Right.
I grabbed the ladders. I put them out there for him. Grab, at that time, ropes because it wasn't really ladders out there at that time. So I finally got the ladders like around 2000 and something like that. And so, yeah, so I started training him hard into him, like, and then seventh grade seven-year-olds when we put him into football. When we put him into his first, tackle padded football, it uh, took to it like a fish to water. He was caught the ball, ran, but he was everybody's fun, guy to gotta have. He would score touchdowns. He would run by and smile, and he would. The one thing I was kind of disappointed though, he didn't like tackling. So I was like, because my boys would get on me and goes, bro, oh, you play defense, bro. Your son's not. Your son, what's wrong with him? He's like he looks like he's gently helping guys down to the ground. I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I think he missed that gene. Yeah. But they're all laughing at me. He's like, bro, you used to knock people's head. I was like, yeah, you see what's going on. So I got him where I was like, hey, what you doing? He's like, Dad, I just want to score a touchdown. I was like, all right, okay. So I
Yeah.
stuck with that because it's either that or the kid would say, "Oh, well, you either going to go hit somebody or you're not going to play the team." Then he'll just say, "Okay, I don't want to play." You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
don't want to do that, right? So yeah, you want to push to the positives,
Yep.
keep building on the positive, keep it fun for the kids and that's the most important part of if I would tell anybody is when you see natural ability for your kid at that age, keep stressing the positives and keep pushing towards it. Don't stress the negatives to them, that they're not doing like tackling or whatever,
That's
you
right.
know, or always stress positive because you got to keep it fun and keep the love for the game for them growing. Because once you start to knock it away, that's when you start, the kids will start turning away from it.
Yeah.
So I was happy with that. So yeah, but it wasn't until I think it wasn't until um, when he got into junior pee wee when I knew that he was gonna be something special because he was just he was just faster, uh, more athletic, and just at that time the point there he was beginning to really be more physical because his strength was coming in. So
Hmm.
he was turning into what I thought was going to be a solid athlete. Maybe the first thing that came to my mind was yeah maybe he could get himself a free education. That's the first thing that comes to your mind is
Yes,
yeah, he looks
indeed.
like he might be able to get himself a free education. I didn't you know NFL was never in first thing that pops in your mind. You just want to do just so he stressed that to him and his discipline and his heart, his work ethic. You build all those things through habits. You make sure that he's paying attention to how every morning, this is what you do during the off season. This is how you work out. These are the people that you trust and you circle yourself with like-mindedness, so that way you could, you know, keep everything flowing towards your goals and not having crazy distractions.
Yes.
So there was a lot of sacrifices going through his life. Not being able to hang out with like a regular kid type of life, but I think as long as you're able to get your athlete to understand the purpose and that there's an ends to a means or ends to it all, and there'll be goals rewards at the end of your goals,
Yes, sir.
and bought in, they'll do it, they'll get to it, and
Indeed.
yeah, that's basically it. So uh, it was his 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 situation was also kind of different because comes from he comes from a split family. His mom and me raised him separately.
Right.
Um, so um, it's an interesting thing with him because you statistically those aren't supposed to go the way it's supposed to go, right?
Right.
You're not, but it's just a testament to his will, his his determination, the special, that devotion that he had built for himself and for the game, that he was able to, put, all of that behind, that division behind him
Right.
and move forward to getting his goals done, eventually becoming a professional football player. So,
Indeed.
yeah, so he's a very special individual in that sense. And, he was, compartmentalized and able to, you know, like I said, make it from a statistic in which he's not supposed to make it, and get to where he's got to be.
Indeed, indeed, and he's definitely saluted for that, and both parties, mom and dad, saluted for that, for continuing to see the bigger picture, to see the bigger goal, which is the children's happiness and them pursuing their dreams and staying confident and self belief, and that's a beautiful thing that you can't put a price on that.
Yes.
Um, I wanted to touch on. Uh, we talked about his football journey and going through starting at age 7, going through the De La Salle legacy out there in California. How was it getting the chance to see your son play for a program like that?
It was, it was kind of tough because the first being that, to explain the reason why he played for De La Salle
Mhm.
is you got to know the geography of the Bay Area first, right? So, um, De La Salle is 45 minutes away from where Devin was born. His mom's uh, hometown, my hometown too, San Mateo, being that not that's where I went to high school, and she's right there. So it's kind of like it's almost like an hour away. So, but what happened was, me and my wife, my current wife, we decided to move out of the Bay Area or to the East Bay, away from, uh, just because of economics. Our
Yeah.
family was growing, and we wanted to make moves um, to be homeowners, to have property and basically build for our kids. And uh, the area that we're living in is called the Silicon Valley,
Mm.
which is, it's one of the most, uh, how you say, rated one of the better areas to live in the country, but also very expensive. Um,
Yes.
lots of lot, lots of opportunities with tech jobs out there, in which both me and her were in when we met. But at the time when we were growing our family, we just felt that it would be a better situation for us to grow our family comfortably, in a, out here close, in a cheaper, you know economic way, cheaper out here. That's
Yes.
what we thought, cheaper would last. But we just happened to be uh, 20 minutes away from De La Salle when we found our home. And I was funny because it was like, when I was moving out of the area, his mom's like, "Well, you're not taking him," and I go, "Okay, well, I at that point, we had a group, I had always raised Devin with me during the week. He would be with me because I wanted him to be in the best schooling possible, so
Right.
I could watch over all that whole situation with his teachers, make sure he stays out of trouble. And his mom, God bless her, because women can't do things without women. You know what I'm saying? They say so, right? But you know, she had the full right to say, to put all that other stuff in the back burner and think about her son and his
Mm.
future, and what's important to him. So
Right.
she felt that he being in his life consistently, watching over him, you know, uh, football, school, social life would give him the best opportunity possible. And so, it was a tough decision for for him to move me out here, almost an hour away from. At that point, he was about a teenager, 14 years old. But she made the call, and he came out here with me. And the first thing I said, well, you're going to daylight, man. You got to go to daylight. Uh, we have done enough research on the program. Me and my wife, we read all the books. We uh, we saw all the at that time YouTube videos.
Yeah.
They didn't have the movie out yet, uh, but I mean everybody knew who De La Salle was. I mean it is the standard out here in Northern California as far as the powerhouse football. So we uh, we just needed a little bit more information. So me and my wife we said, no, we got to get on the inside, and so we just so happened that one of her coworkers had two sons that were going there. So we were able to, through her, find out the exact culture of what it is. You know,
Yeah.
the 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 program itself, and then the culture. And it's it's a first of all it's a Catholic school, so it's based on religion. But it's we felt it was perfect for him because it had very strong administrative support, very strong, obviously very strong in religious,
Mm-hmm.
background and support in that itself. And so the administration went on the inside and through the eyes of our friends, and then we also got to know some of the other friends who were Polynesian that were looking into going in. And we all kind of put our heads together and we thought it was that this would be the best thing for all our kids. At that time, we had a cousin that was also prospecting to go there. His name was Boss Tagaloa, and
Mm.
Boss was also, so me and Boss's dad Sam, we talked hours on end before going into that program on what our sons could do for it, or could do that. We thought this would be the best opportunities for them, not just for making it to the whatever NFL dreams that they had or whatever, but as men, as like this was the best school for them to harness that because we definitely saw the culture and the staffs and the administration around it, what they were doing.
Indeed.
The program is very much what it says, and there's a lot of like, I know there's a lot of, I don't know if it's negative, but there'll be a lot of people that talk down about it. But our experience has always been positive there. Um, bosses, dads will tell you if he ever has you on here, he'll tell you it's always positive there. There's good people there. There's competitive, like-minded kids. So you don't have to worry about it. They're all in there for one reason, and that's to push themselves higher. And at the end of the day, that's is what you want to do because you can't watch your kids every day,
Right.
hours a day when they get to that age.
Yes, sir. That's amazing. That's amazing. And from going there playing 4 years for that program, when it came down to the official visits and the college interests and that whole process and transitioning to the collegiate level, how was it seeing your son go through that process in the role you had to have in it?
Probably one of the most stressful times in my life uh,
Mm.
for myself, but I think he had the best time in his life. And he was he was enjoying he was enjoying the all the the perks, the the visits, the unofficial, the whining and dining, of course, right? The coaches, telling him is the best thing since sliced bread. Um, and that is what the college football, big time college football is, right? It's
Yeah.
kind of like it's kind of like the semi-pro or the farm system of the NFL. So he was getting to see, uh, just what what the pressures, not so much the pressures, but he was getting to see the trappings of what a professional life might look like, right? Because you have these visits in which he's going by himself, but you don't really know what they're doing. You don't know what coaches are saying to him. You don't know what they could be. I do know, and I try to stay on top of it with him. But he's some I know some of the stuff probably didn't get recorded on when he was doing, um, but I'm pretty sure everything was on the up and up. But he got to really see, you know, what it's going to be, what it's going to be like for him, and right away he was able to see uh, the pressures and what he's going to be expected of, the expectations, right, of a program lying within, you know, a player and you know, what they're supposed to do. As for myself, obviously, the things I had to do was watch out for all uh, the unnecessary, uh, how should I say, the unnecessary things that he didn't need to think about, right? Try to get as much of the truths of whatever he's hearing to be confirmed, right? Because when he
Mm-hmm.
comes back to me and he's telling me what this coach says, what that coach offered, what this program says, I always wanted to fact check. I was like his fact checker. I'd fact check
Yep.
everything for him and I'd say, well, let's just go on the internet. Let's find out what the coach said to you. See if that's the truth. Did he really promise this person more playing time and not get it, or is it so that type of thing. So I I think my background in coaching, obviously playing and coaching, helped a little bit, right? In the sense of I kind of went through it for him a little bit but not obviously not at the level of a five-star recruit, but I was able to push some of the unnecessary stuff for him to the side, so that way he can make the right decision for himself before going to college. And
Indeed.
you know, obviously that didn't work out as best again, but best laid plans, right? But at the end of the day, um, it um, it worked out in the end. It
Yes,
worked
sir.
out in the end. But
It did.
I won't say it. I'll tell the whole story now. But at the end of the day, that was the most stressful time in my life.
Yeah.
His most obviously his most fun time in his life. He'll tell you that from the day one. But I had to eat all the stresses for that one. Whew.
Yeah,
So, but we got through it. So it's all good.
for sure. And what were, let's say, his final four schools that he was down to before he made his final decision?
So I think his final three was UCLA, USC, and Alabama.
Okay.
Oh, actually, USC, UCLA, and Michigan.
Okay.
Um, I, I I can tell you right now, we weren't backing Alabama at all, only
Hmm.
because my wife specifically didn't believe in their academics.
Mm.
And she told her that hundreds of times. And I couldn't believe my own looking at my wife. She's telling him he can't go to Alabama. He's like, well, I don't believe it because she didn't believe in the academics. She thought the academics
Wow.
were. But yeah, she definitely thought Michigan was good. She definitely thought UCLA was good. Uh, she wasn't a big believer in USC, but she knew that was we were a USC kind of family. Well, at least I was. Me and
Yeah.
my brothers were. So she left that alone. So um, and I tried my hardest to make him a USC fan when he was little too. But yeah, at the end of the day, it came down to those three. It was UCLA, and USC and Michigan.
Wow. And with his ultimate first decision in college being which school that he chose.
Yeah, and I obviously I obviously at that time was pulling for USC, but I think what happened there was um, Coach Harbaugh was doing a really good job at that time. It was all over social media what he was doing, right? I
Yeah.
mean, he was even up here for Najee, and Najee was just a sophomore, and Devin were known each other, work out together at Marcus's gym. So I think he did an outstanding job that year. It's probably
He
most
hit the
outstanding.
recruiting trail so hard.
It was probably one of the most outstanding runs that Jim Harbaugh had that year of 20 was when he was able to get all that talent that year. And
Yeah.
getting my son was I was astonished myself.
Yes.
I met Jay Harbaugh, his son, cool guy. But I didn't. I thought for sure that Devin would be taken by Tosh Lupoy, because Tosh is a De La Salle alum,
Hmm.
and you would think that the Spartan would have him believing to come out to Alabama. I know my wife didn't like it, but I was just going to leave that up to him. Say, if you want to go down, I'm about to go down. But um, yes, but yeah, that was an epic run for Coach Harbaugh.
Yes, it was.
I guess that was the year where he was like sleeping over people's houses,
Yeah, it
like
was
climbing up
sleepover.
people's trees.
I think he planned the trip to go down to American Samoa himself,
Yeah,
and it was everything. And
yeah,
I seen it firsthand because I'm in the heart of the rivalry. I'm in Cleveland, Ohio.
right,
Most fans here are Browns and Ohio State fans.
right.
So once we seen they hired their guy back, Jim Harbaugh, we knew it was going to be a reign of commotion and recruits and recruiting trail going. So he started a fire up there in Michigan of desire. He wanted to bring in those type of guys to reestablish their culture,
Mhm.
and he did a great job. I'll give him that. He drummed up a lot of good interest.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. That 2016 team was the closest he's gotten. I
yeah.
mean, I can tell you right now that game, that Ohio State Michigan game, woo! I
Oh
mean,
man.
I was like, ooh, oh, if I was like, JT is over. Oh,
Yeah, yeah. It was
yeah.
on.
I asked Devin. I said, Devin, did you see? He's like, he wasn't over, Dad. He was there. He's like Wormley stopped. I think his name Wormley. It's like Wormley
Uh-huh.
hit him and knocked him in the back on his back, Dad. I didn't even see him before. I said, you
It's
should have ran
crazy.
out there and said, oh man.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was like one of the coolest experiences for him to this day. The Ohio State Michigan game, he said, was the craziest game he's like ever been in. He's been to some. He's like the intensity of the crowd was crazy. He's like,
You could
you're walking
feel
out,
it.
you could like you could feel the energy of red and black,
Yeah.
you mean red and blue, right?
Hmm.
And it was like that. It was like he's like I played at the USC and UCLA game. It's cool, but it was intense. It's intense the Ohio State Michigan game. So
Yes, sir. Yeah, I've been in the sports since age 2, and I've been watching that rivalry every Saturday when it comes on Channel 5, ABC. And you get ready, you throw your colors on, and you're watching it from play one to the end of the game. And I love the rivalry. I know we were down quite a bit. I think it was either the 80s or a few years in the 90s, and then it's just been a streak of Ohio State. But I respect both universities big time. I love it. They always show respect towards one another, afterwards. And just it leaves its mark every year. Just to have a piece, to play in that legacy, it has to be something amazing. But let's talk about he went through, what was that, one season at Michigan, and he felt like he wanted to change gears. What was the point in him wanting to make that transition from Michigan back towards the West Coast?
I think this is the warning that I got this morning before I came on to not to say anything stupid. And so
Okay.
I try not to say anything stupid. Okay, so um, when you promise a kid something, right? Okay, when you promise a kid something to do, say going to make going to give you an opportunity, and then you show up and you put you obviously played in 13 games, and you're going to you know give them a chance for an opportunity, but then everything that you were doing wasn't showing any type of, oh yeah, you're in our plans, or oh yeah, you might want to switch your position, that type of situation. So
Yeah.
um, my son isn't my son grew up around coaches, so he understands uh, a little bit of what I've always told him is the relationship between the coach and the play, and to always re- remember or understand who you are,
Yeah.
what you are versus what he is. And so he's that's the one thing that I've pride myself in doing for my kids is to remember, always to tell them to remember that synergy
Yeah.
between, because the person is trying to motivate you to do a job, but at the same time, especially in big time programs, uh, it's it could be kind of like uh, disguised in a sense of
Yeah.
what it is. So um, he just he just called me one day and he said, I'm not feeling it. I'm not vibing with that. I was like, well, what do you mean? I don't know if they have me in the plans to do some stuff here. I was like, well, okay, well, um, give it a day or two. At this time, I'm happy at this point, right? Because come on, I like the East Coast and everything, but you know, I'd rather you'd rather see your kid play in California, state, right? So,
Yes,
and
definitely.
and, and why when he said that, that's the first thing that popped in my head. All right, he's on his way back here. But I gave him every opportunity to get out of that conundrum he's in. I told him to go back, talk to coach, go talk to your position coach, talk to Jay, go back and talk to Coach Harbaugh. And I think the first thing he said, well, Jay's getting moved to running backs coach. All right, well then get on the plane and come back. No, I'm just kidding. No. So no, that was the first thing. No, it was basically at that point I was like, okay, well, all right. He has a point, he has a point. Now I'm like, get moving, bringing in a new guy, but I still told him, please go talk to the coaches.
Right.
Then he went and talked to the coaches. He said he had like a 2 hour meeting with them, 3 hour meeting. He came back and he still said, I'm not vibing it. I think I need to come back.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, we'll finish out the semester, man. You gotta finish the semester.
Right.
This dude was like, I want to come back now. So I was like, oh, jeez. So I get him. He gets on the plane, he comes back. So I was like, no, he's back out here. And so we're figuring out a ways to basically break it to coach that he doesn't want to, he wants to transfer, you know.
Hmm.
And, I just feel like he's about 2 years too late or too early because now anybody can get into the transfer portal and go, right? Anybody can just jump in and go
Oh man, they're in
and
and
be,
out.
yeah, and not be penalized and not have to sit out a year, right?
Man,
Because
free
those were the
agency.
things that were going through my mind at that time, Lawrence. I was like, bro, you gonna come back, you gonna have to sit a year. You're gonna have to sit a
Hmm.
year. And everything, anything momentum that you built up is now going to be pushed back. And you're not going to have, obviously you're gonna have to get used to the new coaches, to the new culture, to the new atmosphere. I talked about it 2 days, sat out here in front of my right here in my living room. You know, he doesn't cry. He's not a crying guy. He just gets up and walks around. So
Yeah.
so he just comes back and says, "Yeah, I gotta go." It's like, I can't go back. So I ended up making the call for him and talking to him for a little bit, to Coach Harbaugh, and it was, other than talking to my dad, it was, it was one of those intimidating, times, in a person's life, right?
Yeah.
Obviously we were both grown men, but I felt, I felt kind of bad for the fact that he kind of put his trust in giving Devin a scholarship. But at the same time, the same thing that was going through my mind was, you know, if you can't keep kids, don't promise them anything. Don't if you're gonna make promises, I was like, at that point, it's like if you're gonna make promises, the least you could do is follow through on one of them or something. All right,
Exactly. Exactly.
because we can't keep blaming the kids for wanting to jump ship and wanting to be quitters, but at the same time, it's like, what are we saying to them that got them to come there in the first place, right? What are we promising? So um, I didn't go much into that with Coach Harbaugh because Coach Harbaugh knows what his business is. He knows what his program is all about. And I think the one thing that I asked him, before I hung up is, first I thanked him, but then the one thing was, as please, was, if there's any way possible that, because you can approve him, I guess that I guess the rule was is you can approve a person to play
Yeah, waiver, I
for
believe.
waive it. And
Yeah.
so I said, Coach, if there's a way you can waive it for him, that would be much appreciated. I know it's tough to do. It's tough to, um, you know, I don't want to be a precedent. I don't want to have the Asiasi rule in the NCAA from here on out. But now it doesn't seem like it doesn't matter anymore because now it's called the transfer portal. Jump on in, zoom, go over there,
Yeah.
right? So, but he, I think his last words to me, I can't do that. I can't do that to my program. So, understood. That in a nutshell is a advice for any 5-star athlete parent. To that nutshell of a comment from a coach, they can't do that to their program. So
Hmm.
if there's any type of like push and pull between them and the athlete, just remember that the coach, at the end of the day, that's his job, and
Yeah.
he doesn't want to. He has family to tend to himself, so
Right.
not going to do that. So um, yeah, and that was the gist of our conversation. Thanked him for everything. He was disappointed, but he was like, wished us luck, and so we, Jim Moore, Jim Moore path continued or started, began, which
Indeed.
is a story in itself. So, but um, we're able to, get that done.
Yeah. So how was it for him coming home to get to play for the nearby UCLA Bruins? How was it for him coming home and you getting to see, your baby boy go out, take the field, and get to live out his dreams in his home state?
I mean, I think it was. I think it was, to me. It was like he was really, really happy to come home,
Yeah.
and I think it motivated him because I think he felt slighted out there. He felt like somebody was trying to tell him to be different or not have his dreams come true out there or whatever. So
Hmm.
obviously, coming back home automatically fires you up because you're going to be playing in front of family and friends and everybody you grew up around. But at the same time, it's a second chance, right? It's a second chance to get your dream of playing at that next level, reached by getting another opportunity to go out and live your dream of playing the position of tight end, right? So,
Yes.
um, but I was honest with him when he walked off the field of that Orange Bowl. I told him, bro, you got a lot of work to do. From everything from let's say let's say all the possibilities that they were going through their minds were not of the same dreams that he had. I was just telling him, if you came back over here, you're going to have to completely push yourself to transform yourself into that tight end that you want
Yep.
playing on NFL Sundays. Right? So you got to come out here and you got to bust your tail and you got to buy in more completely now than ever before. And the first person that I called was obviously my roommate, um, Devin's godfather, who was the head coach of CSM, Tim, and he goes, well, because we didn't want to do it this way, but we might as well do it. So I called him, and then I called. He told me to call the Angus McClure, who was, you know, what my wife's favorite recruiter out of the whole uh, process of the of the recruiting process was Angus. Personable, big time laugh, gregarious guy, everybody's guy, he's great recruiter, and family guy, which is an important thing. He has kids. He had kids that played, and I think that's where he's at right now. He was at Nevada with his son. Now his son's playing either quarterback at Nevada, and he's actually right here in the Bay now at Cal, not too far from there. And
Mm.
yeah, so Angus, so hey, let me talk to Jim, see if we can get him a scholarship. And yeah, they called us up, and a couple of weeks later, I think it was a month later, and they said, yeah, we had to first clear it with the transfer before they could do anything. So
Right.
yeah, we had to go through all those protocols that seem archaic now compared to the transfer portal uh,
Mm.
eligibility right away type of deal that's happening now, right? So yeah, it all seems so long ago, but it was only like 3 or 4 years ago that
Right.
that's what the NCAA was as far as athletes moving around. So
Yeah.
happy for that. That is a total breakthrough. The transfer was so happy for the kids that are able to do that. Now that's happening for them. They don't have to sit out a year. And
Exactly.
so
So with with him going through that process and getting to come back, how was it uh for you? How was it for you personally, and how was it for him getting to see him play for the Bruins and the team success, and also uh right before taking that step of fulfilling his dreams and going to the next level, the NFL?
Well, when you came out here, obviously the sunshine helps, always helps. But when you came out here, uh, Coach Mora, who we are indebted to completely, he still keeps in contact with Coach Mora, Coach McClure, but um, Coach McClure right away put him with Coach Alosi. I don't know if you remember him. Coach Alosi was the strength and conditioning coach
Okay.
at was with the Jets, right? He was the one that was with the Jets. That
Yeah,
guy, I don't know. It was a thing that went back. He was the one that got in the way of a punt. The punt guy running down. He got suspended for that.
I
But
think I
Coach
used.
Alosi, he's a different character. So he's very funny, very intense individual. I
Uh,
met up with him when I went down there for his whole deal for when he first transferred over. Coach Aloshi looked at me and looked at Devin and said he's got to change his body. He's got to change. You want to play in the NFL, you got to change your body. You got to totally change your body. You got to totally commit yourself. You got to eat right. You got to do this and all these things. Obviously, I mean I love Michigan, but I don't think they were stressing that very much over there for him. So Coach Aloshi got on him and put him on track, and you know, obviously he was motivated, so it pushed him, and he really did transform his body into what he would eventually what Coach Kelly was looking for tight end, and he was he was able to change all that uh, hard work, obviously weight room work, field work, sacrificing some Samoan food here and there, some some Tongan food
goodies.
here and there. You had to put the Samoan Tongan food in the back burner. No more,
Oh man.
no more of that
I'm a-
pig, no more of that lu or that palusami. You had to put all that stuff away and
mm,
basically just grind himself into a lean machine. So yeah, so that's what he did, and um, obviously playing in front of being able to have not just me or his mom and my wife or a couple of my kids, but now he has the whole tribe coming down to the games, right? He's got grandma, he's got grandpa, he's got uncles, he's got aunties.
yeah.
So I mean, right away, I mean, it's totally different. It's it's like night and day. It's like okay, you look forward to going out there for warm ups and dancing and looking up and seeing your folks, right?
Yeah.
The tight knit community family that we all talking about, whether it be Samoan, Tongan, African American, what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
just it's family is everything in that culture, our culture. So um, he's he was fired up, he was ready to go, and I mean it wasn't without a little bit of changes. Obviously, I'm very sorry for Coach Moore. He was funny because he wasn't able to play for Coach Moore at all. And
Wow.
we really like Coach Moore. He's there's a lot of things that uh, happened during that tenure for him. Obviously, it's big time football, but he was a solid guy, man. He cared about the kids, and he cared about what what they were going to be, and he was just in a situation where he wasn't able to be there for Devin when Devin came off of the year off to play for him. But
Mm.
we're always going to be very much indebted to Coach Mora for taking helping us out. That's
Indeed, that's major. That's major. And after his tenure at UCLA. The draft process, the rigorous draft process on the field, off the field, talking with these different organizations, the front office. How was that process for you, the outside looking in, and also what he would tell you that he would go through, and some of the questions that they would ask that was just completely unexpected when you enter this process?
Well, yeah, that in itself is a whole different level, right? Because now you go from actual, from scholarships to now it's about millions of dollars, about people getting lives changed and things like that, and so it's 10 times stressful. And I basically, I was just happy that there was an agent, and that there's an agent that I could like send the stress to over here. Let that go over here to this gentleman over there. And so we were able to, find a good agency in Carrick, Carrick Sports Management. His agent name is Steve Carrick. And great guy, good guy, great guy, good, solid, knowledge of the NFL. So he was able to make it easy for us on our expectations was for Devin. And the decision was not hard. Well, no, it wasn't easy, but it wasn't hard either. I mean, at the end of the day, it's been 4 years in college, right? Um, and even though he had the 1 year solid year starting after Caleb left, I think from what we were hearing from people that had the knowledge, including Mr. Carrick, Steve, was that he'd be a solid prospect, very solid. So hey, we go off of what the people that have been in this business for a long time, what they know. So we put total trust in them. And again, all my college of San Mateo football background and ties, whether it be Tom Martinez, Julian Edelman, or even my college roommate who actually introduced me to Steve because he sent me Steve's number because he just met him just because he's a coach,
Yep.
he's in the field, right? So
Yep.
uh, and so it's just one of them things. It's I see it as a blessing from God to always light the path, you know,
Yes.
no matter what it is, that God, He's always got you, and He's always lighting you or your son's path, and
Yes.
that's what I believe, and I always told my son, being a devout Catholic, to always trust that there's a path that's going to be lit for you, and just to not overthink it and follow it, in a sense. So, yeah, so we uh, went into it knowing that if he was able to get into the combine, um, which wasn't guaranteed when we came out, right?
Right.
Wasn't guaranteed that he was going to spend, and especially with COVID hitting, right? We were then at the stress level high, but hey, everything worked out. He was able to get into the combine, and then it just came down to him performing and being able to run the times he ran, test the way he tested, and I and there was somebody that was going to believe in him being a piece of the puzzle for their organization to help them, win the championship. Because then that's what NFL is, right? Looking for
Yep.
that piece of puzzle that helps them get over the hump, win the championship. Just like your guys with Baker Mayfield and then our guy Austin Hooper, who by the way is also a good personal friend of ours.
Love that guy.
I think
Yes,
I
indeed.
think I think y'all are the pick to click this year. The Browns are you guys are definitely with Austin at tight end and Mayfield running around and you guys running game is boss, man. That
Oh man,
I
it's the
tell you what, if
catalyst.
if, if we had if every football NFL team had a running game like that, it'd be super competitive. It'd be very super
Yes.
competitive. You know, you got you got your boy. What's the running back's name again?
Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb.
Yeah, Chubb and Hunt, right?
Yeah,
Man, they, that's a 1-2 punch. I'll take that every day. Every
any
day.
day.
Twice on Sundays.
And I love it. I love it. Those guys, they really became the catalyst for the Browns. And Nick Chubb's humility, his humbleness, his quiet work ethic, straightforward. He leads by example. It's the balancing power with this roster, and you feel it. You feel it as soon as they turn to the running backs and let them have a few more touches. That's when their complete season turned around.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So
man. You guys are gonna have a solid year this year. I pick the click, man. I mean, it'll be. I would be surprised to see Browns in the AFC Championship this year. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
it would be a beautiful sight to see. But I mean, to even touch back, on you guys is over at the Patriots, seeing your son get picked up in the third round. I know it was a beautiful moment. How was draft day, or which I believe will be day two? How was that NFL draft process? Watching it, you're there with him, the emotions, how many hats and everything is sitting around. So how was that day or those days in that process?
Well, I mean, after hearing the story, right? It's you can imagine, man. For me, it was. I know as I mean, I'll speak for me before I speak for him. I mean, it was a culmination of getting on the plane when I was 10. You know,
Mm,
coming from American Samoa, a little island, right? And
right,
then to see your offspring, you had dreams, you had little dreams in your head when you were getting on that plane. At your age, my age, come to America, a land of opportunity, and um, you know, to see your offspring get that opportunity to do something that everybody can come to America and get a good job, you know, have a good life because it's what America can give you. But to play professional sports, right? To have an offspring play, make it to that level, that elite level of professional sports, is truly a blessing. And it reaches back into your soul and it restores your soul from all the things that could knock down hope with it. That you see that moment just restores it, right? It gives it
yeah,
all back, and it lets you realize that God's got your back, no matter what.
yes indeed.
It's going to have His back, and and it's going to, as long as He lives right and do right by himself, be respectful to people, give as much as he receives. Those blessings will come his way. And so, I was sitting there. It was me and my roommate, my college roommate, Coach Tully. We were like sitting there, and he looks at me because he's good friends with Julian because um, he recruited him obviously. So he looks at me. He goes, "Hey, what?" He said, "I just got a text from Julian." He was like, and it was a thumbs up or something. I don't know. Okay. So I was like, "Oh, that's all right." We don't pay attention to it because he's probably saying, good luck. And he's like, all right, cool. And so we're sitting there, and he he slaps my. He always does it when I'm sitting around. He comes around and when everyone's a little kid, comes and slaps my leg. He slaps my leg, and I look, and he's like on the phone, and he's on the phone, right? And he like it's kind of like a flash, right? You look, and it's like you see the stuff on TV, right? So
Yeah.
now your kid, right? He just slapped your leg. Now he's sitting down, and he's like, yes sir, you know all those, and the more yes sirs, he says, you could hear the crowd, you could hear the families gathered around going, quiet, quiet. You know, so it's one of those surreal moments, right?
Yeah.
Like playing out, and and he has a cousin. He's so you always gotta have the one of those one cousins, right? He comes out and knows what's going on. He's like, nah, everybody's quiet down. He's the one who's walking. Oh, what's going on? What's going
Right.
on? So you gotta have one of the aunties gotta shut up and get over here. So he comes back over, and so yeah, and then we looked, and it was the Patriots pick. And I won't even. I mean, I'll go over the fact that my Raiders was the one that traded the pick up, right? So
Wow.
we'll go over that one
It
in a
just
second.
keeps.
Yeah. But I didn't even think about it at that point because I was just looking dead at the screen, and it came on, and it said, and it was funny because somebody was saying, "Oh yeah, he looks relaxed. The commissioner looks relaxed." And it was like, isn't that cool, right? I thought that was cool because most draft days, the commissioner only presents the first day.
Hmm.
But here it is on the 2020 draft and the second day of the draft, and the commissioner has to do it all by himself because it's COVID and he's the one that's working. Everybody else is
Yes.
taking the day off except for him. He's got to work. So, and there he is. And I was like, oh my God, the commissioner is actually going to say his name. It isn't some fan. It isn't some player. It's the commissioner. And yeah, I picked him up. And 91st pick, New England Patriots select Asiasi. And I have my family from Texas who couldn't make it on Zoom. I was, I think if you see the video, I was holding up the tablet, and right when I showed everybody, and then when I came back, my cousin yelled at me. He's like, "You had your finger on it for the most part. You had to." I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." So yeah, it was pretty surreal, and I'm pretty sure for him it was, you know, combination of all the believing, right? The
Hmm.
believing, the you've been told so many times to believe in something that you finally say, "Okay, I got to believe it," right? And
Yes.
then I do it, and then you pour your heart, your soul, your blood, your sweat, your tears, all the frustrations, all those things, and it's all culminates into that one moment, and
Yes.
there it was, and so happy that he was able to share it with all of the, his day ones, his family, his Aina, his Ohana, his
Yes.
it's special, and he even told me if he was even if he was like Pitts, how Kyle Pitts was first round projected, and they would have invited him, he wouldn't have went. He would have stayed.
Hmm.
He would have stayed right there, grandma's house, with all the fam.
Yeah.
That's really what my son is, man. That's who plays for the New England Patriots is. That's the type of guy he is. He's going to be loyal. He's going to fight hard for the organization, and yeah, he's going to give it all, because he knows who he has to represent. So, uh, you know, I'm hoping that the past nation don't give up on him. Gonna give him all his, his faku, which is Samoan for heart, and
That's right.
he's gonna give it all of his faku. And he's gonna show
Indeed.
him, just another San Mateo kid. They've had successes with San Mateo kids. Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, San Mateo County.
Hmm.
He's from Rebel City, but he's so and
I'm
now
telling
Devin
you.
Asiasi. So, yeah, let's see what happens this year. You're loaded this year.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. They definitely reloaded. I want to talk about how was that rookie season and actually, getting to see the week by week process, getting to actually, also be a part of it and be up close to it at the NFL level. How was that while in a COVID year like 2020?
Well, yeah, the COVID situation was very, very different, right? Obviously, um, my first game there, I had to basically stand outside of the gate and watch. I don't know. I mean, you're my Facebook fan. You see, you see me out there with my video camera. I got interviewed by some station from uh, Buffalo. I think they were out there. I was like, what is Buffalo doing covering? You know, New England game. So, but usually say I was just trying to get B-roll and ask you a few questions. I never saw it, so. But yeah, it was very strange because I I talked to him before before he hung up today and said, "How's it going out there?" He goes, it's feeling a lot more like the NFL right now. So
Hmm.
the OTAs that they're going through now. He says it's totally different from last year. There's more interactions with guys, with players,
Good.
um, and coaches. So I'm looking forward to actually this year. Really, I'm really excited for this year because
That's good.
I felt like last year was his rookie year, but now I really think that this is the real rookie NFL year for him. Because I am, but he's had 13 or how many more game of experience. So it's kind of like he got a redo of a rookie year, kind of, but
Hmm.
with more experience, with more game under his belt, you know, targets, catches, touchdowns. And so he's able to now really go out there and play the game that he's capable of playing, I think, in my mind. And
Hmm.
and just last year was just different. And obviously with everything being hit and miss. I was with uh, my buddy uh, on the way up to the Seattle game. We were going to go watch the Seattle game. And right before we got on the plane, he goes, ah, man, we got canceled. Cam got COVID. And I was like, whoa, you know? And so it's just crazy. Uh, going to the Kansas City game after. So it's crazy in the end.
Hmm.
Uh, the different types of things you had to go through because of the virus. But we're hoping that that um, it also for him, I think on his end, and this is funny because all the coaches tell him this that he's didn't have the full year of development they felt that they could give him
Hmm.
because of the restrictions.
Right.
Um, whether it be the games, whether it be the time out on the field. And I think really the time out on the field is what they're really talking about because a regular season like they're going through now, there's some restrictions coming off. Now they're really going to get the development down for him and the plays and um, the different quarterbacks that will be in. And obviously now with the rookie quarterback Jones, with uh, obviously Cam, and then Stidham. I mean, it's just you're seeing he's seeing more of the different types of throws that he's able to see now, and because he's getting more time with them. So yeah, it's night and day now for him, and he can't help but talk about the positivity of what's going on right now
Yeah.
for them as a team. He could totally feel it as with chemistry, with what they've been trying to do there, with the time, just the difference in the time together because of the
Definitely.
restrictions coming up.
Indeed, indeed. And I definitely think that, with more time being able to put into OTAs, the off-season team process, like you said, building that team chemistry, I think it's nothing but a positive for him. I feel like actually him going through a red shirt situation in college
Yeah,
makes it more translatable to have that, second and third year leaps that he's looking to have for sure. So I definitely feel like he's set up to succeed for this season and next season for sure.
right. And the NFL is such a competitive league, and it's and obviously fan base and everything, and it's just crazy how now the 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 the, the positions like the quarterback positions that are coming in. I mean, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, whoever knew about Tom Brady, right?
Right,
Whoever knew about Tom Brady, right? It was he had to compete. Obviously, some luck was getting into the situation to get his shot. But now with these new quarterbacks coming in, it's like they're throwing them right in there. Right?
right
There's
in.
it's like you got to get in there. You got to make this work. You got to so the franchise tag of quarterback, whether it be Tua Tagovailoa now, Miami or Mac Jones, right? The two Alabama guys. It's like they come from programs in which they've been trained, right, prepped to make it happen
Yeah,
in your first year if you're given the opportunity. And it's that's the realities of the NFL now versus 10 years ago. And I can't, it's funny. I can't tell that to my son now because he feels pressure being a third rounder coming in just because of the fact that they hadn't, the Patriots hadn't had uh, you know, offensive tight ends since Gronk and Hernandez,
hmm,
right? And so that was the thing that was over there, kind of like what brought them in together. Him and Dalton Keene was, and it almost like unnecessarily, not as unnecessarily, it's the NFL, but it almost put pressure on them because why? Because they were the first offensive uh, picks that they've had since the third, since those two guys. So
hmm.
it's just crazy to see how the NFL has just become that high competitive deal now. And it's just, what can you do right now when you come into the league from wherever? So
Yeah,
it's, it is what it is. And it just goes to show you how the game has changed and become exciting in a sense. Makes everybody look forward to it. You know?
definitely, definitely. And I just want to say, man, like you said, we're Facebook friends. I've seen the journey. Oh man, you guys are always up to something, eating something good. You even
Appreciate
had your sandals on out there in the snow, man. So I'm like, this guy, he's down for that team. He's official now.
it. Yeah, I try, man. I try to be down. I mean, I still have my Raider stuff underneath, but
You got to.
yeah.
But yeah, man, I just wanted to say, man, I definitely appreciated you coming on. This was a treat. It was a special treat for me just getting to
Appreciate that,
hear
Lord.
your stories, your wisdom, and getting to hear your son's journey. And I really hope that our fans really enjoy this. They get to take away some of the gems, some of the jewels you dropped, some of the funny stories, man. But like I say, for you to give this hour and a half of time, I appreciate you. We are definitely going to talk some more. I wore, some blue and red gear.
Hey, we got to talk when Ohio State plays Michigan again, man.
Oh, we got to have a talk for the big game now.
Hey, let's talk it, man.
So I'm going to be in touch with you definitely, and we'll definitely link up again and do this again, man. It was fun.
Oh, no doubt. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity, Lars.
All
Appreciate it.
righty. And we'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, man.
All
Peace.
right. Peace.
California love. California love.
You know it. All right. And as you can see, that was Dave Asiasi, father of NFL tight end for the New England Patriots, Devin Asiasi. He's a great, great guy. Great guy. Um, we've been friends on Facebook for a while now, man. Nothing but positive vibes and good energy from that guy, man. Love that guy. He's a great guy. But it's a wrap for this episode. We're just getting started. We have so many more shows to go. Um, so many great guests. It's an exciting time. I love talking to all of these different people because their stories, their knowledge, and the different things that they could bring to the table to inspire others or to help others along the way, or any little jewels or gems like that. It's always appreciated. Um, but I definitely look forward to talking to him again. I have a few more other people over in the basketball area that I definitely want to bring on and talk to. So everybody stay tuned, be on the lookout. As you know, you'll see at the bottom of your screen, you can hit up my Unlimited Sports Inc. online shop, Teespring, that is going to be through. The link you can always find on my Facebook page, Unlimited Sports Inc., or my own personal Facebook page. But I'll tag it somewhere in the description for you guys once this video is uploaded on YouTube. Yeah, use promo code USI 2021 for $20 off your order of 2 items or more. The Limited Sports Inc. gear. I'm wearing some of the original, some of the creator only gear right here. This is the Unlimited Sports Inc. basketball hoodie. You can head over there. My favorite is the script lettering. The t-shirts and hoodies. The Unlimited Sports Inc. script is fire. Get you some t-shirts. Summertime coming soon. It's already spring, but we're just now getting the feeling. So head over there, man. Show support. All proceeds go right back into the Unlimited Sports Inc. podcast and the Vent podcast, Air It Out. It goes right into it, man. We're looking to have more guests. We're looking to upgrade. We're looking to, do bigger things this year. A lot more coming over the summer, but this spring session is what we're in right now, and it's going to be a lot more to come. You guys can head over. My YouTube is right there. Be sure to give me a follow, subscribe, turn on the notification buttons, and hey, check out the videos. Leave a like, leave a comment. Leave me some feedback. Let me know how you feel. So, other than that, it's a wrap for the Unlimited Sports Inc. podcast. That was Dave Asiasi, my guy. It was great talking to him. And you guys stay tuned for the next episode of the Unlimited Sports Inc. podcast and as well as the Event podcast, Air It Out. So much more coming soon. So you guys um, stay tuned, stay locked in with me. And I appreciate all the support and everybody who made it to the end of this video. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, follow, and always leave feedback, man. Tell me how you guys feel. So until next time, peace.